Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Coming to you live from War Memorial Field in Middletown, Pennsylvania. These two old friends meeting again. The Butterflies are strong for the District 3 AAA championship game, the district final. And for the fifth season in a row and the fourth time in the finals, these two teams meeting in this big game. It's the Wyomissing Spartans at the Middletown Blue Raiders. Hi, everyone. Bob Rochruck here with you on SFBN. So happy to be here with you. This should be a really good one, and we are anticipating the first close game of the year for Wyomissing, who has outscored its opponents this season almost 300-16, including a first-round playoff win last week over the Bubblers of Boiling Springs in a 47-7 final, and that was surprisingly easy in its own way. I think the Bubblers were a little bit off their game. They made a couple of mistakes almost in the red zone at the goal line at exactly the wrong times, and Wyo just delivered the knockout punch from there. Middletown, in the meantime, had a similar success in the first round. They were up by 12-0 at halftime against Bermudian Springs, but they ended up winning 46-7. And so Middletown, the three-peat champions who were knocked out of the district final last year by Wyo at Wyo at the A Field, 24-21 in a real slugfest, in a terrific matchup. We've got a good game here again today. I think most people would consider Wyomissing to be the favorite. It's hard to say that from earlier in the year because the schedule and the strength of opponents was so weak, and so it was really hard to gauge exactly how good is this Wyomissing team. But most of their top players from a year ago are back, including the guys who starred in their 24-21 win over Middletown last season. Evan Nadrowski, who rushed for over 100 yards. Jordan Allman, who went in at quarterback after Zach Zekman went down in the first game of the season last year. And Allman had a couple of touchdown passes and was terrific. Well, now Jordan Allman, he's in the backfield, and sometimes he'll roll out into the slot as well. And Zach Zekman has been very good at quarterback, and that gives a little more depth maybe to this offense than Wyomissing normally has, because they're not just the slam it down your throats, run game, wing T style offense. They have that, but Zach Zekman, when he throws it up in the air, Darren Bruner is as good as they come, and he made 3 terrific catches last week against the Bubblers of Boiling Springs. There were 2 touchdown runs for Jordan Allman of 32 yards and 50 yards, 2 touchdown runs for the big fullback, Evan Nadrowski. I think that most people consider Wyomissing to be the favorite. And then you have the common opponent as well. They have both played Boiling Springs. We'll talk about that, and we'll have opening kickoff when we come back on SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAYS.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAYS.
Rejoining you from War Memorial Field in Middletown, Pennsylvania. And some of the seniors on this Wyomissing team. This is old hat for them. The big matchup in the playoffs with, I think, now their top rival. I mean, it used to be Berks Catholic, but Middletown, they're always meeting in the district final. Not every year. Middletown won 3 in a row. Wyomissing won it last year and ended Middletown's three-peat. It's the 5th straight season that these two teams have met in the district final, and or the 5th straight season they've met in the postseason. 4 out of the 5 times it's been in the district final, and a district championship is on the line. And for Wyo, they're hoping for their 9th in a row. It's the 17th appearance in a district final here for head coach Bob Wolfram. Old hat for him. He's 8-8 all time in district finals, and he says, oh yeah, still gets the butterflies. Middletown struggled 3 weeks ago against the Boiling Springs Bubblers in a 20-16 win. They did not play well in that game. Bob Wolfram told his YO teams, don't even think about it. Don't even go there and compare the scores. It's not relevant. This Middletown team is good, probably better than the Boiling Springs Bubblers that Wyomissing demolished last week, 47-7. Wyo is going to return. Get ready. It would be a packed house here if it weren't for the pandemic. Here comes the kickoff from Nolan Sessa. And now to return for Wyo. This is Allman with a big hole, and then he's smacked and tackled at the 32-yard line. Well, I'll tell you what, it looked like Jordan Allman, who had a huge game against Middletown last year, and also a big game last week, by the way, almost had a chance to break that wide open. 103 yards last week for Jordan Allman, including touchdown runs of 32 yards and 50 yards. Zach Zeckman has been waiting for this moment for the last couple years. He didn't get to play in the district final last year. He was injured in the first game of the season a year ago. And now here he is as the senior. And the handoff. And there's a whole slew of tacklers catching up to Jordan Allman. And taking him down is Audric Bryant, who's a 5'7" tall junior cornerback. And look at the secondary men as pivotal for Middletown. They'll not only have to get there on the speed and get out there to knock down some of the big sweep run tries for Wyo, but now they've got to contend with the passing attack as well. In fact, they've just rotated around a couple of guys, and now in motion is Amory Thompson, who had a touchdown last week. Motion at the line, and Wyo will get tagged with a penalty. Wyo was expecting a tougher competition a week ago against Boiling Springs. They scored in their first 4 possessions, but there was a couple of plays in the red zone where it could have been much tighter. when it was 14-0. It was Nadrowski with the interception at the goal line. And then at 27-0, and Boiling Springs driving, back-to-back sacks from Jack Feitner and Stephen Alexi that ended the half. All right, rolling out as Nadrowski. Zekman finds him. It is caught. And after the penalty, they get some of those yards back. So here at a bigger field than the A field in Wyo, this would be an absolute packed house. You know it was a packed house, of course, last year in the district final in Wyomissing. It's a little different this year. The player parents and families are here. The Wyomissing families are on the opposite side behind the Wyomissing players. 3rd down and 8 with 10.5 to go in the first quarter. Zekman from the right hash. He has a receiver. It is caught by Darren Bruner, who was 3 for 3 catching the ball last week. This one was his easiest catch that he's had in the last couple of games, because the 3 that he made last week were absolute beauties in tough coverage. This one was a bit easier, but now here we go. It's 4th and 1. And it looks like Wyo intends to go for it here. Zekman looking over at the sideline at head coach Bob Wolfram. Yeah, they're going for it on 4th and 1 from their own 42. A big play in the early moments of this game on the first drive of the game. Compact set, handoff, pushing forward. Nadrowski, I think he got to the first down. It's very close, but he only needed a yard. And Nadrowski just falls forward to the 43. Did I say the 48? It was the 43. And, yep, move the chains. First down, Wyo. It was very, very close. It's a shame that we don't have the full-fledged district final playoff atmosphere here. But, of course, that kind of also conveys the importance of our broadcast, and that's why we're here in the first place. And Athletic Director Frank Ferrandino inviting us out, and Middletown so accommodating as well. And a handoff, and boy, oh boy, it's going to be a battle and a war in the trenches, isn't it? And there wasn't a whole lot of daylight there. Slow to get up is Evan Nadrowski. Nadrowski was huge, and he is huge overall as the state javelin champ at 240 pounds. But he had a big game last year in the final at 113 yards in that big game. Some of these guys for Wyo very well remember their freshman and sophomore years, and they played. Zekman, who on the defensive side, Darren Bruner played too. Some of the other guys too, who are seniors now. They got one of them back against Middletown last year. They're looking for another. That pass off the hands and off the fingertips of Nadrowski. It was right there. Zekman put it right there into the hands of Nadrowski, and probably a little disappointed with himself that he couldn't hang on. Nadrowski on that interception at the goal line last week, it almost went over his head, and he said he almost missed it. It was a terrific pick because he had to kind of tap it up in the air and then catch it. He shouldn't have gotten it. He made a terrific play on a ball that was practically past him. 3rd and 9 from their own 43 for the Wyomissing Spartans with 8:50 to go in the first quarter. And Zekman on the handoff to Allman, and he's got a first down and a little bit more. Allman finds the holes so well. That's a gain of 14, and we can see and we can kind of hear the Wyo fans across the way. They're cheering their lungs out. I mean, this is the big moment that they've been waiting for all season, and here in the COVID era, you don't even know if you're going to get to this game at all. All it takes is 1 or 2 cases, and next thing you know, your game is shut down. Boiling Springs had that happen. They had a COVID case that they learned about on Thursday. We played them just the previous week. Handoff here, and that's going to be a good coverage for the Blue Raiders, the blue and gold, and Amory Thompson got nowhere at all. Tajai Brody gets in there, the D1 recruit, who's very good as a fullback on the offensive side of the ball, too. And he busted his way through, and it's a loss of 3. And right away, we can see that Wyo is going to be in for a dogfight today. They knew that coming in. But there is the danger that they were going to be score comparing. I'll admit that I did it too. Middletown barely beat Boiling Springs. Wyo blew him out of the water. Coach Wolfram said, don't even look at it. Oh, Thompson dodges a couple tacklers. Amory Thompson down the sideline to the 15-yard line.
Number 10, Amory Thompson with the carry.
A 31-yard run for Amory Thompson on what was 2nd and 13. And I thought he was going to break free for a touchdown. That's a couple of impressive runs where the big muscle on the offensive line has paved some nice holes for the speedsters like Allman and Amory Thompson there. And hey, you've also got Jason Gartner, who had 88 yards last week on just 4 carries. 1st and 10 from the 15. Here's a handoff, dodging away a couple of times. Man, there's some big hitting going on down there on Jordan Allman. He's a tough kid. He's not the biggest guy in the world. And you feel it when the Middletown D catches up and makes a big tackle on you, because they're hitting harder than YO has experienced, I think, against any other opponent this year. You can just tell. 2nd and 8 from the 14. First drive of the game. I think we're on the 9th play now. Amory Thompson in motion. Play action after the fake handoff. Zekman is rolling right. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown! Looks like that's Jason Gartner out there on the touchdown. And Wyomissing draws first blood on a 14-yard touchdown pass from Zach Zekman.
Pass is complete to number 85, Aiden Mack.
Oh, was that Aiden Mack over there, 85? I beg your pardon, from way over on the opposite corner. So hard for me to tell the right number. So Aiden Mack makes the touchdown catch from Zach Zekman. This after they had to go for it on 4th down from their own side of the 50. Here is Cerulli on for the extra point. He missed one of them last week. This one is up. It is good.
Extra point attempt by number 12, Aiden Cerulli.
15-yard touchdown pass from Zach Zekman to Aiden Mack. And it is 7-0 Wyomissing. And that's a terrific start for this YO team that almost turned it over on downs back on their own side of the 50-yard line. It was that close. YO has outscored its opponents this year by way more than any team should, and averaging a margin of victory of almost 50 points per game. They're scoring almost 50 points per game after their win last week, 47-7. Total score this season now with the 7 points here. The total score for YO on the season at 6-0, their 9th undefeated season. It is 303-16. They gave up a touchdown last week to end their shutout streak of 3.5 games. That is reflective of how good this YO team is, but also the strength of schedule, which really didn't get going until just a week ago when the playoffs started against the Bubblers. Zekman to Aiden Mack on a 15-yard touchdown pass. It is 7-0 YO. 7 minutes to go, first quarter. Here's a little pooch kick almost from Cerulli. And it's brought up to the 35-37-yard line. I think that might have been.
Number 21, Aldrich Bryant with the return.
That's Bryant on the return. I was trying to see who was in there on the tackle, and I couldn't quite get the number. Okay, so YO's defense, a lot of the same guys that are so good on offense. Throw Jack Feitner in there as well. Steve Alexi, Darren Bruner too. Tommy Grabowski. He had an interception with just over a minute to go in the district final last year to clinch the win for YO, 24-21. Grabowski, number 22. And now we blow the whistles here. Timeout.
Timeout, Middletown.
How about that? Brett Myers, the head coach, calls timeout. He didn't like what was going on, and they had some issues in there. Now, Tony Powell is their standout quarterback, who has not played this year because he was injured in the preseason. But he had been practicing this week, and we had the mystery all week. Would Tony Powell be out there to take the field for the Middletown Blue Raiders of head coach Brett Myers, who went 4-1 with one loss to Steel High in week 2, which was a real wake-up call for them. But no, it looks like it is number 10, Dylan Zettelmoyer, who will be the quarterback and not Tony Powell. All right, so after the timeout, when they seem to have some miscommunications there. Here's Middletown ready to go. And I bet, that is Tony Powell. All right, I got a little turned around. Powell is in, and I do see him out there. And there's a handoff and a big gain for a first down on the give to Aldrich Bryant, the speedy 5'7" tall junior running back. So this is the story of the game. Tony Powell, who passed for 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns a year ago. And he's back in there after a broken wrist in a preseason scrimmage. But it's number 17, Tony Powell, in his first game of the season, and it comes in a district final in the big rivalry game against Wyomissing. Tyjai Brody, the D1 recruit there, he's a terrific player. He was in motion. Is the ball on the ground? It's a fumble, and it's recovered by Wyo. It came free. It is recovered by Evan Nadrowski, who had the big interception last week, and I feel like he had a fumble recovery last week as well. I couldn't see it for sure last week. I absolutely saw it this time. The best athlete on the Wyo team is Evan Nadrowski. He picks up the fumble. Wyomissing takes over on the Middletown Blue Raiders 49. 3 straight appearances in the PIAA championship game for this program that has become an elite team from head coach Brett Myers. And before the game, I saw Brett Myers at midfield chatting with Bob Wolfram. They have all the respect in the world for each other. 2 terrific coaches, 2 good people. Handoff, Jason Gartner. He rushed for 88 yards last week. He cuts it back in off right tackle, and a gain of maybe 3 for Jason Gartner. The depth of Wyomissing, that is absolutely killer, because some of their second team guys, they would win just as much as the first team guys. And when you have so many players that play on both sides of the ball, such as Nadrowski, who recovered that fumble, well, it's good to give them a breather at least at some point. 2nd and 7 from the 45. 7-0 Wyomissing Spartans with under 6 minutes to go. And there's Gartner on a little deception and misdirection there, and back the other way. Zeckman so good at that. And Gartner turns that into a gain of about 4. Looked like Zeckman was going to roll left, give it off in that wing tee that Wyomissing has been running for 40 years now with Bob Wolfram and, so many teams that run the wing tee. And Middletown's offense is not that different, but they will spread it out some at different times. Well, here, not spreading it out. Wyo is packing it in on 3rd and 4. Handoff to the fullback. Nadrowski, I think that is dragging bodies with him, and it's tough to bring down 240 pounds. They couldn't do it. A gain of 7 for Evan Nadrowski, and a first down for Wyomissing. This is an interesting turn of events early. Middletown players talked about that loss to Steel High in week 2, 43-21. What do they learn about that? Well, among other things, don't panic. And we can't be snapping at each other on the sidelines when things aren't going our way. Zeckman, the give. And on the handoff, a gain of just a couple there on Nadrowski. The carry. He's already committed. This happened a couple months ago. Evan Nadrowski will go to Monmouth University, but probably not playing football. The state javelin champion, not just the best in Pennsylvania, one of the best in the country, and also very good at discus and shot put. And by the way, he's a good football player too. Zeckman drops back the pass. It was batted down to the line of scrimmage. Zeckman kind of forced that one. Terrell Daniels got in there. Did was it Jackson 5? I thought it was 6 Daniels. So they say the pass is broken up by Tymir Jackson, who, by the way, is critical on the offensive side of the ball and their best player aside from their returning quarterback, Tony Powell. Well, when they get the ball again, Tymir Jackson averages over 8 yards per carry and 149 yards per game. Okay, 3rd and 7 from the Middletown 33, and a 7-0 lead for Wyo. And a couple backs set, and everybody is packed into the box. Here's another handoff, Nadrowski, and he'll rumble forward for 3 or 4, which will leave them short, and they will probably go for it on 4th down. It's on the 30. I don't think there's any question that Aiden Cerulli could hit this, but on 4th and 4 from the 30, it would be a 47-yarder. It's a little long for Cerulli, and it is makeable for Wyo. They're already 1 for 1 on 4th down conversions in this game. Allman is in motion. And speaking of motion, we had movement on the line of scrimmage. And an offensive lineman, looked like Garrett Metzger, and he flinched a little bit there and probably a false start on Wyo, I think. And it is.
False start, Wyomissing.
So they didn't have the count quite right. Now it's 4th and 9, but it is still too far for Cerulli to punt, or too close rather, for Cerulli to punt on the 35. Weil will still go for it here on 4th and 9. Head coach Bob Wolfram, over 400 wins as a head coach and assistant coach combined. 46 years he's been a part of this YO program. Started as an assistant for Jack Paris, who is still with the program. All right, Zekman under pressure, escapes out of it, and he finds Bruner. First down. Zach Zekman dodged away when the pocket collapsed. He stepped up, and he just fires a seed to Darren Bruner down to the 19-yard line. Wyo converts on 4th and 9, and now they have first down from the Middletown 19. I'm telling you, the 3 receptions that Bruner had last week, they were fantastic. One of them where he went way up high over the cornerback, Carson Garvey. And I thought it was an interception, and Bruner just took it right from him. Handoff, Zekman gives it off. Allman, he's going to turn the corner and all the way into the end zone. A touchdown. Nobody touched him. 19-yard touchdown sprint for Jordan Allman. His 8th touchdown of the year, and it's 13-0 in the first quarter for Wyomissing. Well, this is quite a way to begin this game. All right, Cerulli on for the extra point. I still think it's going to be a tight game. I thought that last week as well, and we were at the same point last week, 14-0 in the first quarter. This extra point from Cerulli, it is good. And this is 14-0 as well. This is a stunning start. And now we will be testing the composure of the Middletown Blue Raiders of head coach Brett Myers, and I saw him coming out and clapping his hands at his players and saying, come on, let's go. They've barely had the ball here. 2 sustained drives for Wyomissing in between a couple of plays for the Middletown offense and their returning quarterback. And that's kind of your X factor there, too, with Tony Powell returning in his first game of the season. But they had the fumble that Nadrowski recovered. And, wow, a terrific start. Hey, hello to everybody watching around the country. I know there's a lot of extended families of the players of this YO team and probably of the Middletown team joining us for this broadcast. It's been my privilege. I'm so thrilled that we get to come out here for an away game. We'd only been doing the home games this year. And also, all of you fans back in YO, we wish you could have caravanned out here to join us as well. And it's a crying shame that, you know, we can only have these sparse crowds with the players' families and relatives. That's where we are. And the YO fans, well, they're loud and proud on the opposite sideline. And it's a 14-0 lead for the Spartans here in the District 3 AAA final. And YO trying to make it back-to-back. Big boot by Cerulli all the way to the 4, and now bringing it back. Here's Brody into the open field, down to the left sideline, all the way down. Thompson maybe, but he was screened there all the way back. A 97-yard touchdown return. That was Derek Wall. Derek Wall on the return, number 8. I thought it was 9 Brody, but it was 8. Derek Wall with the big return, and what a huge moment for Middletown to get one of the scores back. They needed that in the worst way. 97 yards, and it took 15 seconds. YO was ahead 14-0 for 15 seconds. They scored with 2:48 left, and the Blue Raiders score with 2:33 left. The extra point is up for Sessa, and
Extra point is up by number 86. Tyson Leach is good.
Tyson Leach, I beg your pardon, 86, not 83.
14, Middletown 7.
Leach with the extra point, and it's 14-7. And I told you this was going to be not a blowout game, that this start for YO was maybe a tad deceptive. Probably it was a little bit. Boy, that is incredible. What a wild start for this game. You know, 3 years ago in the district final, and Bruner and Zeckman were freshmen. They play here in a downpour, and Weil got their butts kicked, and then it happened again when they were sophomores, 49-0. Well, Middletown was very obviously the better team then. Last year, YO eked it out. This year, they're probably the better team because Middletown lost, quite a few players from last year's squad. And YO, number 2 in the state, really the top team in District 3, or I should say the top team at AAA on the eastern side of the state. Central Valley from Pittsburgh is the number 1 team. All right, Leach, here's a little pooch kick. Who's that going to be? Not Grabowski. It bounces over his head. It's picked up by Amory Thompson on a bounce. He's trying to get away from some guys, and he's able to turn the corner. And now he's to the 40 and the 50-yard line. And he's across there and finally brought down by Derek Wall. Well, I didn't think that was going anywhere for Amory Thompson, and, well, it went quite nicely, thank you very much, after he picked it up on a bounce, and then he goes, there's nowhere for me to go. And he just goes well across the field, uses his speed, and if you didn't know, if you weren't aware already, YO does have some fast guys. Zach Zeckman of the Spartans will start from their own 49-yard line, 1st and 10. Wyomissing 14, Middletown 7. Zeckman under center, Allman in motion, handoff there. Oh, it's a big hole down the right sideline with blockers. Is this Gartner? And he's out of bounds at the 15.
Number 28, Jason Gartner.
That was Jason Gartner. With Allman going one way in motion and the handoff taking him the other way. Huge holes. Untouched was Jason Gartner as he goes down to the 14. Is this going to be some kind of crazy offensive shootout? Because YO is now moving the ball with some of their deception and misdirections. They're picking up some big runs. The Allman touchdown run there. That was 19 yards. He was untouched. This one went from the 49 to the 15, so that was a 36-yard run. Now here he's smacked at the line of scrimmage. The offensive line kind of fell backwards on him a little bit there. And I think no gain, 2nd and 10. I see big Rashard Williams, the 315-pound, 6'5" tall offensive lineman, number 74. And he was the offensive lineman and player of the week in the Reading Eagle, as nominated by the coaches. 3 pancake blocks, and YO rushed for over 400 yards last week against the Bubblers. All right, Zeckman, play action after the fake handoff. He has Nadrowski, and he spins off a tackler and in. Touchdown!
Number 44, Evan Nadrowski, touchdown.
Evan Nadrowski with a 15-yard touchdown reception. Well, he scored a big one against Middletown last year. He has another one this year. 8 touchdowns for Evan Nadrowski this season and 8 for Jordan Allman as well. And it's 20-7 Wyomissing. We're still in the first quarter. 15-yard pass to Nadrowski with 1:10 left. Can't keep up. Cerulli, extra point, high snap. Zeckman brought it down. The kick is up. It is good.
Extra point attempt by Aiden Cerulli is good.
Wyomissing 21, Middletown 7. Middletown still has barely had the ball. They had a couple plays on their first drive and they fumbled. Their second drive didn't exist. It was a 97-yard touchdown return for Derek Wall. Had a couple blocks, then showed good speed. I think it was Amory Thompson trying to catch him. And there was another player for Middletown who didn't really block him. He was kind of running with his back turned, and Thompson just couldn't get around him. And Wall was pretty much already home free anyway. So number 8, Derek Wall, is ready to get back there and maybe pick up another big return again. Man, was he fast. And YO giving up their 3rd touchdown of the season and their first on special teams on that 97-yard kickoff return. Touchdowns coming into this game were 42-2 for Wyomissing all season. Now it's 45-3. And in this game, 3-1 because the score is 21-7. Cerulli drilled it on the last kickoff. Mack got it at or I should say Wall got it at the 3. Cerulli, a little pooch kick. This is an onside attempt. It bounces and goes out of bounds. Well, you got a shot there, and Cerulli has pulled off a couple of those. One this year and a couple last year. Bruner was chasing after it. And, I mean, I want to say it was against Fleetwood. No, it was against Plymouth Whitemarsh that Cerulli did that earlier this year. Almost the exact same spot. Because it goes out of bounds, that's officially recorded as a penalty. And so Middletown will start from the 35. No, it goes out of bounds, so they start at the 36, I guess. Interesting.
Ball spotted at the 36-yard line. Where it is a first down.
And so now
Raiders.
Tony Powell and the Raiders will try to get their offense going and hang on to the ball for more than a couple plays. He's in the shotgun. He has a couple receivers wide right, but here's a pitch, and he hands it off to Tymir Jackson, and he's tackled for loss, which doesn't happen very often. The Wyo fans making noise on the opposite side. Jackson averaged over 8 yards per carry this year against competition not quite up to the defensive capabilities of Wyomissing. Their first string had not given up a single touchdown in the entire season. The score in the first half combined this year, what was it? It was 196-3. I mean, just dominating stuff, but again, a lot of that is strength of schedule, speaking of which. That's why Middletown's the home team in this game. Powell has a receiver, juggled and dropped, and then contact in there as Zach Zeckman smacks into Brody. He's okay. I was almost a little concerned on that hit from Zeckman because it looked a little high and almost contact with the head or the face mask. And so I was kind of holding my breath there, making sure no penalty flags, and indeed there was none. Good breakup there in the play by Zach Zeckman. 3rd and 11 from their own 35. And the snap to Powell, and a handoff, pushing forward Jackson, and now with his back turned, falls across the 40 to the 42-yard line. And now it's a 4th and 5. Does Middletown go 4th and 4, really, from their own 42? Do they go for it from here? I think that was Alexio at the tackle. They will call timeout. Will Brett Myers. Oh, end of quarter. I beg your pardon. End of the quarter. Let's step aside. Wow, some big offense in the first quarter of the District 3 AAA final from War Memorial Field in Middletown, PA, where Wyomissing leads after 12 minutes. It's Wyomissing 21, Middletown 7 on SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY.
The 27th all-time playoff appearance for Wyomissing. 4th most in District 3, behind Wilson, 28, Cumberland Valley, 29, Manheim Central, 32. Everyone knows that Wyo is a pretty big deal. The winner hits the road next week in States. They will punt now, will Middletown. And this punt from Terrell Daniels, fair catch, Amory Thompson. Wyo with a 21-7 lead will take over from their own 26-yard line, looking to build on this lead. A fantastic start. And Coach Wolfram knows that this ain't over yet, not by a long shot. In District 2, up in the Wilkes-Barre area, it is not Scranton Prep this year. It is Lake Lehman against Lakeland. And one of the Lake schools up there will win and will advance. And the winner of this game will head up to Wilkes-Barre to play either Lake Lehman or Lakeland. The following week in the state semifinals, not at a neutral field. This was just announced last week. And if Wyomissing wins here against Middletown and then would win next week against Lake Lehman or Lakeland, Wyo in 2 weeks on November 20th on a Saturday. Could be hosting a state semifinal game with a trip to Hershey on the line. So they might not have played their last home game this year, but they need to win 2 more. Amory Thompson in motion, handoff Gartner. The offensive line broke down. Gartner got nowhere at all and is tackled for loss. They've had a couple of breakdowns. Tymere Jackson, who was a very strong and very good defensive end, got in there, maybe untouched. So the offensive line here has to be a little smarter, and it's not all about the muscle. Sometimes there's a little bit of a chess match going on down on the line with different players trying to sneak their way around. Little rock, scissors, papers there. You know, are you going the left or right? What do you have? Zekman, fake handoff, play action, has time as a receiver. Dropped out there by Aiden Mack, who had a touchdown catch for their first touchdown of the game. And that's the second time that a pretty good pass from Zekman has hit the receiver in the hands and has fallen to the grass turf here. And it's a little more choppy grass turf. They were intending on replacing it, and it's kind of beat up here. Of course, most places have the artificial surface now, that new synthetic stuff, but Wyo has the grass, and that's a great field. This one, it's a little choppier. The field's not in the very best shape. Handoff Zekman, and he can't find a hole. And that was Thompson, yeah. Thompson is going nowhere. Garrett Metzger, number 77, was trying to pave the way for him, but a couple of guys ganged up on him. Here's Aiden Cerulli on to punt, and this is actually a significant event. He had 1 punt this year, and otherwise would have had none, but they had a blowout lead at Kutztown. Wyo wanted to practice punting, and Cerulli is terrific, but hasn't had the opportunity. It's a bad snap. It's over Cerulli's head. He's going to fall on it in the end zone. It's a safety. Well, this is sort of a reflection of their lack of practice. I mean, they've done it in practices, but their lack of opportunities in games, their lack of reps in games. His 1 punt in the game against Kutztown came after the kickoff in the second half when Wyo was already up 40-0 or whatever it was. And on first down, Bob Wolfram sent out his punting unit and waited for Kutztown to be ready. He just wanted to practice punting, and he knew he was going to do that because they hadn't punted all year. So here they're trying to punt. And over his head for a safety with 10:33 left in the second quarter. Middletown scores 21-9. And I mean, I think that maybe Cerulli got a fingertip on that. Maybe, but it was way over his head. Now after the safety, he can punt or he can kick off. They have the free kick from the 20. What was the Thursday night game a couple weeks ago in Kansas City or whoever it was, Carolina maybe? Did they do somebody in the NFL, and I can't remember, but they did the intentional safety, and then they tried an onside punt, which was like a new one on me. They already tried an onside kick because they'll do that sometimes. It's a little more dangerous when you're on your own 20, but with a punt, you kind of have a little more control on where it can go. I'm going to guess that Coach Wolfram has not tried the trick play onside punt this year, but if you want to throw it out there, why not? Nope, Cerulli is just going to let it go, and it'll be picked at the 45-yard line by Audric Bryant, and now he's cutting back the other way down the left sideline. Special teams on the returns is looking very good. Catching up to him, Aiden Mack bounces him out of bounds, bumped him over there on the near sideline, but not before Bryant took that punt that was a little shorter from Mack, or I should say from Cerulli. And he bumped Bryant out of bounds, and Middletown with glorious field position here.
It is a first down, Raiders.
21-9, and they have a first down at the Wyo 37-yard line. So now Middletown, I mean, you get butterflies in these games, and well, maybe they're settling in, and now they're ready to come back in this game. Handoff goes there to Brody, who's trying to turn the corner, and boy, he's not able to do that against some of the speedy secondary getting in there to help support, and maybe that was Zach Zekman who got there
He's
on the
stopped
tackle.
at the 38-yard line. Where it'll be second
I think a loss of 1. 2nd and 11 for Middletown from the Wyomissing 38-yard line. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Wyomissing Spartans 21, Middletown Blue Raiders 9. Tony Powell, his first game of the season, 1,400 yards passing last year. In motion is Brody, and no, this is Julio Rodriguez who goes in at quarterback, and he's going to get messed up there, and that offensive line broke down quickly. So we're changing quarterbacks and all sorts of things.
Julio Rodriguez with the quarterback keeper.
So yeah, we had Tony Powell, who had the broken wrist in the preseason, and Julio Rodriguez.
It'll be 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10 from the YO 37. This is almost certainly 4-down territory. And they do have a receiver wide right and the ball on the right hash. And now a couple guys in motion, including Dylan Zettelmoyer. Goes over to left end. Boy, they're taking their own sweet time here. Brandon David, number 31, is in there. Back in motion is Zettelmoyer. Over to the right slot, back and forth they go. And Rodriguez out of the pocket and to the 35, and a gain of maybe 2 or 3 after all of that. It's another keeper for himself for the second time in a row. For the second play in a row, doesn't get very much. 4th and 8 from the YO 35. And now we'll spread it out here. Derek Wall and Brody. 3 receivers wide left. Brandon David, number 31, is set right next to quarterback Julio Rodriguez. In motion is Brody from the left side of the field. And, Rodriguez is going to find him there on a long screen across the field. Carries it across the 30, but not enough for a first down. So you had 2 receivers sprint forward as blockers, and the pass designed to hit Brody behind the line of scrimmage and hope that the blockers can pave the way for him. They did a little bit, but not enough. Turnover on downs. And YO will take over from their own 29-yard line. With these 2 old friends meeting in the postseason for a 6th consecutive season. Middletown won the last 3. 4 out of the last 5 have been in the district final. Now make it 5. 3 out of the last 4, rather, and now make it 4 out of 5 in the district final. Middletown was able to just inch past YO in the power rankings on the last game of the regular season after both teams were already done, but strength of schedule, there were some other teams playing. And when Steel High won, that put Middletown over the top, and they were the 1 seed even though they lost a game, and YO was undefeated. So you would think, based on that, and YO being ranked number 2 in the state, YO, some consider the better team. That was Grabowski on the carry.
It'll be 2nd down.
And YO had been the top team in the power rankings for the previous couple of weeks, and they hadn't lost. But the problem was their strength of schedule, and that's no fault of their own. It would have been a much tougher schedule if they had played out the whole season, but they lost all of their good opponents when the schedule was cut in half. And they by no fault of their own. Fumble, YO, it's on the ground. Middletown's got it. Middletown fumble recovery. Jordan Allman fumbled the ball. Both teams have had 1 fumble each. Dylan Zettelmoyer had the fumble recovery. And they're getting their hands in there and grabbing and punching and trying to knock it free. And Allman, who had 103 yards last week, he has his first fumble of the season. 21-9 YO, a 12-point lead with 7:20 to go in the first half. All right, everybody kind of lopsided on the right side of the field, and now this is Tony Powell again, who's back in at quarterback after Julio Rodriguez went in last time. So they're alternating quarterbacks, and Powell was going to do a keeper, but he tripped over his own 2 feet. And we told you that the turf, it looks beat up. I was down there on the field before the game. Yeah, it's kind of choppy. It certainly is not the best grass field we've ever seen. It's not the worst either. So a loss of 3 with Powell losing his footing there. 2nd and 13. Tony Powell out of the shotgun is going to throw. He has a receiver. It is caught. He had to reach back to catch that. and made a terrific grab out there. Did Derek Wall, who had the 97-yard touchdown return on the kickoff. And he was looking at the ref, and I feel like I thought I saw him kind of signal a face mask. I think Wall wanted a flag thrown, or maybe he was just excited and had a motion that I misinterpreted. And it is not a first down. I beg your pardon. They fall just short. It is 3rd and inches. It's not even 3rd and 1. They are inside the 25. They have to get to the 24, and the nose of the ball is almost touching the 24. They've got a couple receivers over to the right slot. Some of these funky formations from Middletown's version of the wing tee, they kind of run them differently. Handoff here, Tymier Jackson, and he's got blockers on the left side of the line, and there's a gain of 8 for Tymier Jackson. A first down for Middletown. Wyo racing out to a 21-7 lead in the first quarter. But now with 6:10 to go in the second quarter, the Wyo offense has kind of sputtered to a halt a little bit. They had the fumble. And now Middletown is surging back and looking to close it back into a one-score game after they had the safety on the snap that went over Cerule's head. So 21-9 and 1st and 10 from the 17 for Middletown. The handoff out of the shotgun from Powell and trying to turn the corner over there, but Zach Zeckman closed in quickly and got up to Tim Wagner and smacked him down. Zeckman and also Nadrowski was in there. Zeckman's come in from the secondary and made a couple of big tackles. Obviously, he's the quarterback on the other side of the ball. Another tackle for loss, so we've had a few of those as well. In a game that's 21-9, we've had a lot of tackles for loss as well. Boy, what a terrific game we have already, and I mean, it's just typical district finals intensity between these two newish rivals of the last few years. Powell handles a snap and passes wildly, and Derek Wall slipped out there. And I'm telling, and I don't know if he catches it nicely, cleanly, if he doesn't slip, but it didn't help. He was coming back to try to help. Amory Thompson is being helped up, and I feel like he kind of twisted his ankle there. So on this very nice night, and temperatures in the mid-50s, you got a little bit of dew on the field that already has some patches where there's not any grass and some bumps. We've seen a couple of guys that have tripped over their own 2 feet, it looks like, but you have a feeling that the shape of the field, the turf, is partly responsible as well. You hope that you have some decent cleats that can hold your ground. Handoff there to Brody after it looked like Powell was going to keep it himself. He was trying to deceive the defense. That didn't happen at all. And Tymier Jackson got nowhere fast. 4th down.
Stopped at the 18-yard line where it'll be 4th
and it's 4th and 11 from the 18. And Powell's still out there. Are they going for it here? I don't know what Leach's leg is like. It's a 12-point game, so a field goal could make it 9. And obviously a 35-yarder isn't exactly a gimme. They're going to go for it. We think they're at least lining up to go for it on 4th and 11. Brody is in motion. Here's Powell. Yeah, he takes the snap. Play action. And now for the end zone, Zeckman bats it up in the air and away and complete. It was up for grabs between Zeckman and Terrell Daniels. And TJ Daniels couldn't come up with it. Zeckman almost did, but it wouldn't have mattered because it would have been an interception on 4th down. So Wyo will take over from their own 18. If Zeckman picks that off in the end zone, then Wyomissing would take over from their own 20. So pretty much no big deal and same diff. I'm a little surprised they didn't kick the field goal there or attempt to. And again, it wouldn't have been a gimme, and it would still be a 2-score game if he had made it to 21-12. It would have been a 9-point game. But 4th and 11, and he went for broke for the end zone. Wyo has tough field position to start. Handoff Nadrowski, looked like he was going down, and the big guy is still up. And across the 20, there's a gain of 5 there. Julian DeMeo had a nice block to help pave the way for Nadrowski. With 4 minutes to go in the first half, my name Bob Rotrug here on SFBN, and boy, this is our best game of the year. I mean, we just had, they were fun, but they certainly weren't very intense, and you're rolling in the second string and third string, and all these blowouts. I don't want to say they were boring, but I mean, Wyo's trying to keep the score down. Oh, Nadrowski bounces off a couple of men. Looked like he was going to be brought down to the 25. Almost out to the 35-yard line. Second time Nadrowski just powered his way through and bounced off of first contact and rumbled forward for extra yards after that. Some of that's blocking, but some of that is just Nadrowski determination himself and a little slipperiness there, I guess. First down from the 33. Look out, that was almost offside over there by Darren Bruner, way out of the right sideline. Zekman rolling right. Bruner's going deep. Zekman doesn't have him, and he throws it away. And probably made the right play there. Gardner was in the vicinity, and T.J. Daniels was guarding him. But Zekman, who's looking at Bruner, Bruner's sprinting downfield. He's past the 50, down to the 40. And I don't think Zekman's arm could have fired it that far. He would have been on his back foot, too. And then he didn't really think Gardner was available either, and he kind of threw it away. 2nd and 10 from their own 33 with 3:11 remaining in the second quarter. Wyomissing all 3 of their touchdowns in the first quarter. Aiden Mack, a 15-yard touchdown pass. Jordan Allman, untouched on a 19-yard touchdown run. And Nadrowski, a 15-yard touchdown reception. Zekman, a couple guys blitzing, and he finds a receiver behind the line of scrimmage, and he slips and falls. Aiden Mack got it, and then he slips and falls. We've seen a lot of that here. And I mean,
ball spotted at the 27-yard line.
I didn't think the field was that bad when I went down there and looking at it from up here. It doesn't look great, but man, the guys that are slipping and sliding out there, it might be a little worse than what I thought, because we're getting a lot of that. And so that's a complete pass for a loss of 3 because Matt caught it behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 16 from their own 27. Zekman the handoff, and they'll get some of the yards back, will Nadrowski. But they're still shy of the original line of scrimmage. It's 4th and 12, and now timeout on the field. And the timeout is called by Middletown here.
Timeout Middletown.
And isn't that interesting? So you've got a guy, Derek Wall, who had a 97-yard kickoff return for touchdown with 2:33 to go in the first quarter, right after Allman had made it 14-0. And they've had a couple of other decent returns as well. So the special teams is already kind of a factor in this game. And then on top of that, you had a snap over the head of Aiden Cerulli the last time they tried to punt the ball. So Middletown's the team that called timeout here. A Football Family chronicles the history of the West Reading, Wyomissing, and Wyomissing area football programs from their inception in 1944 all the way up to last year's thrilling District 3 AAA championship victory against these very same Middletown Blue Raiders back in Wyo. A comprehensive story, 248 full-color pages. It's terrific. Many newly published images and personal stories. There aren't many high schools that have this kind of a retrospective on the history of their high school football program. Orders can be placed online. Go to wyofootball.com. Go to Google and just type in Wyomissing, a football family. It'll take you right there. Or online, or by calling toll-free 1-800-600-9107, a football family. All right, Cerulli, it's a high snap again, but not that high. And that's not a very good punt for Cerulli. Certainly not by his standards. Bounces at the 47 and then to the 43. Took a little kick backwards, and Amory Thompson downs it at the 45. Middletown will take over from there. Cerulli had a boomer on his punt against Kutztown. He's had a couple of sort of duds. I mean, that was from their 30, so that's a 25-yard punt from Cerulli, who has not had many opportunities to punt in games, so he's taken to videoing himself punting and posting it on Twitter and on the recruiting videos to show the different colleges, yeah, I can punt the ball, I just never get to in the games. Well, running out of room, but now turning the corner there is Audric Bryant. Little kind of stutter step, slow and pick it up again. Turn on the Jets, and then ran out of room on the far sideline. And after all of that, did he get a gain of a couple? Maybe. And timeout on the field with 1:58 remaining in the first half. I don't know what we have here. Darren Bruner out there was kind of, I don't think he was hurt. I think he was adjusting his socks. I didn't see what the referee signaled, but I think it was a timeout from Middletown. Was it Wyo? Is there an injured player? Oh, there is. Way over on the far sideline. I see him now. So Wary was bumped out of bounds. I didn't see it before, but there's a player with a right leg injury over there at the Wyomissing sideline. And the Wyomissing fans over there probably know who it is, but I don't. Do we have a number on him on the screen? I don't think we can see it on the video. And I mean, I've got my binoculars out here, so I'm looking at it on my own, and I can't make it out either. Well, we have an injury on the field, and they are tending to this young man, and we'll maybe identify him at some point. Let's go ahead and step aside. 1:58 to go, first half. District 3 AAA final, and Wyomissing with a 21-9 lead on SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866.
The injured player over there, he got up but was hobbling, is Stephen Alexi, and he's kind of a big deal on defense. Roberts drops back. He finds Brody behind the line of scrimmage, but with room to dodge a couple of tacklers and a first down and more into Wyomissing territory. That play was from the 47 rather. And so across midfield, and Brody made that happen. Kind of juking and jiving all over the place, and a gain of 15 on that play.
Where it is a first down.
1:40 to go in the first half, and the clock is running here. So without Stephen Alexi, that one hurts because he's good. He had that sack at the end of the first half last week when Boiling Springs was threatening. Roberts has a receiver through his hands, incomplete. And, well, there's a guy over there and that's Nazir Arango, who was smacking his hands into the grass turf, upset at himself that he didn't hang on. It hit him in the fingertips. It was a little high, and the pass was coming at him a little hot, but, you know, receivers wear the gloves for a reason, and he expects himself to be able to make that catch, and he didn't. 1:23 to go, first half. It is Wyomissing 29, Middletown 9. 21-9, yeah. Did I say 29? 21-9, and Roberts hands it off, and I think that might be Jackson getting nowhere and actually getting shoved backwards, yeah.
Number 5 time here.
Yeah, they'll give him some forward progress there, but he was pushed 5-7 yards backwards by a whole host of Wyomissing defenders there. I see Rashard Williams up there, and Isaiah Fernandez had a good game last week too. A couple of big tackles at the right time. 3rd and 9 with 48 seconds to go in the first half. Roberts drops back to pass. He got rid of it. It is incomplete. I thought he was about to be sacked by Jack Feitner, who's got a couple of those this year. Roberts overthrew Derek Wall. There's been some really good coverage here from the Wyo secondary against easily the best passing game, and really the only legitimate passing game, I feel, that Wyo has had to contend with this year in the form of Tony Powell. 1,400 yards and 18 touchdown passes a year ago, and he's back after he had a broken wrist in a preseason scrimmage. It was not known this week if he would play. I have a feeling that Bob Wolfram kind of knew it might happen because he was practicing this week, but Middletown was kind of quiet about the topic, and so it was wait and see. Timeout Wyo with 4th and 9 coming up for Middletown. And so Middletown will go for it here on 4th and 9 from the 36. But Wyomissing calls timeout. If they force a stop here, they can have a little bit of time to try to at least get into field goal range. Really exciting and competitive first half. Wyomissing the 2 touchdowns they scored right from the start with 7 minutes left in the quarter on an extended drive, and then with 2:48 in the quarter after the fumble that was recovered by Nadrowski. That might end up being the difference, a 14-0 lead, or really for Middletown, a 14-0 hole. You play even the rest of the way. Those 2 touchdowns that you kind of got as a little bit of a gift to start. They are going to punt it. I thought they were going to go for it. Over the head of Amory Thompson, and they will down it at the 5. What a beauty there. On the punt, or he's aiming for the corner. Didn't even get it to the corner, but it kind of skidded to a stop on the punt from T.J. Daniels.
Where it'll be first down, Wyomissing.
Wyomissing first down with 33 seconds to go in the first half. They might just take a knee here. They've got first down from their own 6. What another good game. And they haven't always been good games between these two teams. Middletown won the first 3 playoff matchups over Wyomissing 138-26. And, and some of these players were there for a couple of these. Zekman's going to hand it off. And there's a hole for Nadrowski, tripped up on his feet at the 20 and to the 25, and finally wrestled down by number 7, Jaden Wotring. That looked like a gain of 3 or 4 that turned into a gain of 21. And you got 24 seconds left in the half. And Bob Wolfram will call timeout here. He is not. I speculated he might take a knee, and I speculated incorrectly. Not going to happen. If Wyo can make it to states after their 9th district title, which could happen today, their 9th undefeated season so far as well in the regular season, they can go to states for a 5th time. The first few districts that they won back in 1990 and 1991, you didn't have every single district winner go to the state tournament. Their first district final was in 1989, and it was a triple overtime loss to Littlestown. The next year, 1990, the first ever district title for Wyomissing when they beat York Catholic 33-0. Wyomissing all-time in District 3 playoffs, 34-18. It's old hat for Bob Wolfram, but you get the butterflies all the same. Out of the timeout, 1st and 10 from the 27 after that 21-yard run from Nadrowski. And here a little misdirection to slam Amory Thompson back to his right, and he didn't really get anywhere. And now the clock ticking should do it for the first half, it would appear. And yeah, they're going to walk off now. That's it. 21 points in the first quarter, but Wyomissing did not build on that in the second quarter. We had some crazy fireworks and 4 total touchdowns in the first quarter. In the second quarter, with 10.5 minutes left, a safety on a ball snapped over the head of Aiden Cerulli. So Middletown really didn't do much there for the only points that we had. So first quarter, it was Wyomissing 21, Middletown 7. Second quarter, Middletown 2, Wyomissing nothing. A tale of 2 very different quarters. And the Wyomissing Spartans looking to repeat as the District 3 AAA champs, and this time on the road at Middletown, who eked out the advantage in the power rankings to get to host this game, very disappointingly to some Wyo fans, I know. It is Wyomissing 21, Middletown 9 at halftime. My name, Bob Roatruck, on this picture-perfect November evening for a district final from just outside of Harrisburg and Hershey here at Middletown Area High School from War Memorial Field. Halftime, we'll take a break. We'll come back in a few minutes and kind of summarize the first half, get you ready for the second half. Who's going to win the districts? Who's going to go on to states? Well, we still have 24 minutes more of football to play. 21-9 Wyomissing on SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the sports fan base network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the sports fan base network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
payroll service solutions that sports and the sports fan base network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the sports fan base network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Halftime here at War Memorial Field in Middletown. Bob Rotrug here with you on SFBN. And my goodness, we've got a good one. And at the start, it looked like maybe that wasn't going to be the case. Would it be another blowout for Wyomissing when they raced out to a 14-0 lead? And maybe some early nerves in there for Middletown and some positive adrenaline for Wyomissing. But here we have a halftime score of 21-9. Wyomissing leads at Middletown in the District 3 Class AAA final, with these two teams meeting in the playoffs for a fifth consecutive season. And it has been a good one. And we had all kinds of fireworks in the first quarter, and then a second quarter that wasn't exactly a dud, but both teams kind of settled in and stopped giving up the big plays and handed the ball back and forth a little bit. So the scoring summary from the first quarter as I had it: Zach Zeckman completes a 15-yard touchdown pass to Aiden Mack in the right corner of the end zone. He kind of sprinted his way down the sideline and in, and that completed an extended first drive of the game for Wyo and a 7-0 lead. Okay, so now the big question coming in for Middletown: would Tony Powell play quarterback? Because he hadn't this year. He had an injury in the preseason with a broken wrist, but he does come in. And just a couple plays in, they put it on the ground. It's a fumble. Evan Nadrowski recovers. Terrific field position for their second drive. And Middletown was in trouble, and they had barely touched the ball. And another drive that would be finished with 2:48 left in the first quarter. Jordan Allman, 19-yard run, aims for the left corner of the end zone. He's done that a couple times this year. His 8th touchdown of the season was pretty much untouched. He finds the holes. The blockers pave them for him, but Allman, who's fast, but it's not just about speed, it's about the smarts and the ability to read the play and the line as it's developing and what is there in front of you. Allman found it. It was 14-0 Wyo, and well, now the key here is, does Middletown freak out? Do they panic? They said they were guilty of that in week 2 in their only loss of the season against Steel High. That's what maybe they learned the most. They just got to settle down and play football and not snap at each other. Well, Middletown, very quickly, and this was huge, they got it back on a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for Derek Wall. Amory Thompson was the last one to have a chance to catch up to him. So, in fact, the Middletown offense has not scored today, but that 97-yard touchdown return for Derek Wall was pivotal, and Middletown with momentum and back in the game at 14-7. But just a minute later, Wyo is driving. Evan Nadrowski, a 15-yard touchdown reception, and he blasts his way through, and he's had a couple of nice, impressive runs, bouncing off of initial contact, turning what could have been a 3-yard gain for mere mortal humans into a 15-yard run or so for Nadrowski. He's done that a couple of times. And here his touchdown run with 1:40 left in the first quarter made it 21-7. All kinds of crazy fireworks in the first 12 minutes here of this final. Only 2 points in the second quarter. Wyo, deep in their own territory, got nowhere. Middletown's defense has really stepped it up now in the second quarter. And on a punt here for Aiden Cerulli, it was snapped a mile over his head. Instead of trying to make something happen and making it worse, he fell and collapsed on the ball in the end zone, took a safety. Hey, if he doesn't and he tries to throw a ball incomplete or something like that, then Middletown's going to take over at the 15 or something and could very easily have a touchdown. They didn't get a touchdown the entire game from their offense. They have one touchdown on the kickoff return on special teams. They have a safety score that really they didn't even do anything. It was Wyo that shot themselves in the foot, snapping it over Cerulli's head. So that's what we have. Wyomissing 21, Middletown 9 in this 5th consecutive season of these two teams meeting in the playoffs, and the 4th time in the District 3 AAA final. It's been fun, and it's a pretty nice day. I mean, it could be a lot worse here in November. The winner goes on the road next Friday night, we assume, at Lake Lehman or Lakeland, a couple of schools in the Wilkes-Barre area. District 2 hosts the state quarterfinals in the PIAA next week. Not everybody plays. District 11 opted out, so now you've got a playoff structure that's really different. Of course, last year after Wyo beat Middletown, hey, they're looking to go all the way to Hershey, not so fast. Tamaqua came from behind in the fourth quarter. I know that that's one that really kind of stings for a while to think about that, but also their losses a couple of years ago against Middletown, they sting some also. So anyway, that's next week. If Wyo wins, they go to Lakeland or Lake Lehman. Hey, I'd love to go back there as well. Hopefully that works out. And then the following week, Wyomissing could host, and that's something that just came out from the state in the PIAA in District 3, or it was PIAA, beg your pardon, a couple weeks ago, because normally that's a neutral site game for a state semifinal. Now, if there's too much geography between the two teams, they might opt for a neutral site, but all things being equal against Montoursville or whoever it might be, Wyomissing could host if they win today and win next week at Lake Lehman and Lakeland, and that would be November 20th, I guess, is that Saturday. Look forward to that possibility with a trip to Hershey on the line. These guys could play one more game back at home. We've got a ton of viewers on YouTube watching this game. It's my thrill to bring it to you. Let's get ready for the second half with Wyo leading Middletown 21-9.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Get ready for the second half, everyone. As if we didn't have enough fun in the first half. This is fun. And this is what football is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, and that's what we had because we had no other choice. It's not supposed to be one blowout after another and mercy rule after mercy rule. Every single game for Wyomissing, they won by 35 or more, and every single game went to mercy rule at some point. And it's not what you want, and it's not what Wyomissing wanted. Their schedule was a lot better than what you ended up with after everything got blown up with the pandemic. They would have hosted Southern Columbia on, October 10th, and they've got that 84-game winning streak at Division at AA. It would have been a phenomenal matchup, but Southern Columbia was not allowed to travel outside of their region. They had their own COVID rules and COVID restrictions there. All the other strong schools, including Conrad Weiser, which would have been a Week 10 game. Pottsville, too. I mean, just on and on. You lost all your best teams. In 2 years, they'll be in a different league when it merges with the LL, the Lancaster-Lebanon League, to form a kind of a 37-team Super League. You'll have better competitive balance. All right, we've already had a 97-yard kickoff return for touchdown. Here comes the second half. And, Derek Wall's not going to get so far this time. Boy, I almost felt like that ball popped out on Derek Wall. It didn't.
Number 8, Derek Wall with the return.
At the 22, we will see Middletown take over, and here comes Tony Powell again. Some first-half stats, courtesy of Mike Drago of the Reading Eagle. Wyo had a first-half advantage in yardage, 215 to 52. So Middletown really didn't get anywhere at all with their offense. I mean, a couple of plays, they look okay, but 215 to 52 were the total yards. Middletown did not have a score on offense at all. A kickoff return of 97 yards, special team score, and a safety when Wyo snapped it over their punter Aiden Ceruli's head. and they're not getting the big chunks of yardage. They've gone for it on fourth down a couple times, but there was some big physical contact there on that handoff to Tymir Jackson. Jackson almost 150 yards a game. 8 yards per carry this season. He got 0 there, and he's had a couple of those. Let's see, Mike Drago also has Wyo scoring on its first 3 possessions and has completely stalled since. A fumble, safety on the snap over the punter's head. That counts as a fumble too, right? And so that's 2 fumbles. Allman had the other fumble. All right, scrambling around after the pocket collapse was Powell. A flag comes in. Would you believe we've only had the 1 penalty in the first half on the illegal motion? Well, we might get more of those. That ball was picked up and taken to the end zone for Wyo, but the play had already been whistled down. Let's see, Drago of the Reading Eagle also has Zach Zekman as 6 for 10 in the first half with 2 touchdown passes. Really should be 8 for 10. He hit a couple other receivers right in the hands, and they dropped it. Nadrowski had 1, and Mack had another that really kind of bothered him. And, in fact, Middletown had a couple of drop passes as well, kind of hitting them in the hands, well thrown. Holding is the call on Middletown. So march them back from the spot of the infraction. So what do they have? Second and it's got to be about 27, 28 or so. Second and long, they officially announced. That's good enough for me. Where are they? They're on their own 12, and they have to get to the 35. So, or 34. So second and 22 is correct. Powell is rolling left. Under pressure, he'll take it himself. Bruner got a piece of him to bring him down. And also getting in there, Zach Zekman comes in from the secondary. Powell kept it himself and had a gain of maybe 12 or so. They had second and 24, and now they'll have third and 13. Stephen Alexi took an injury in the second quarter, and he was hobbling, and it looked like he had hurt his left leg. And I don't see him out there to begin the second half. So that is perhaps relevant information as well. Powell, fake handoff, drops back, fired it up the middle, right through the hands of a receiver who kind of heard the footsteps there. Bumped into Amory Thompson to Derek Wall.
Number 8, Derek Wall. Ball's incomplete.
I don't think that's the easiest catch in the world, but I feel like it's one Derek Wall would have told you he would have thought he should have had. So it'll be 4 and out, 3 and out for Middletown. They will punt it away. You know, on these Wyomissing broadcasts, I'm used to, doing it in the Wyomissing seats and having some of the parents sitting around me, and they can hear me loud and clear. We don't have a packed house, and I've received so many compliments from so many of the fans and the families who are just so thrilled that we're broadcasting these games under these, different circumstances. Oh, it broke apart there. He is under pressure and punts it away. Nadrowski got through there and would have blocked it. Bruner, too. So keeping it himself is T.J. Daniels. That was not intended to be a fake punt. T.J. Daniels knew he was in big-time trouble because Nadrowski, who had already recovered a fumble today, he was right on top of him. T.J. Daniels kept it himself. He tried to punt it on the run and got a few yards out of it, but that's it. Now, are the officials conferencing here? What are we doing? Yeah, Wyo.
Holding on Middletown. The penalty is declined.
Holding on Middletown, and so they decline it. It was holding after the – and so both teams have botched a punt here today. This one isn't a safety, but it is glorious field position for Wyomissing with 10:07 to go in the third quarter. And 1st and 10 from the Middletown Blue Raiders' 28-yard line. Big opportunity for Zach Zekman, who is out there with Allman and Nadrowski. There's Amory Thompson over in the left slot with Allman in motion. And from the right hash, handoff to Nadrowski. Oh, a big hole as he cuts it back to the right and down to the 14-yard line. A pickup of 14 for Nitro. Evan Nadrowski, a first down. 1st and 10, Wyomissing with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. A 12-point lead. If Wyo scores here, do they go for 2 to try to make it 20? Because a 19-point lead is a little awkward, so mathematically, Bob Woodrum might consider that. All right, Zekman, a give to Nadrowski again, and he's driving his way through to the goal line, drags two guys in there with him. Touchdown, Evan Nadrowski. And it's now 27-9. Wyomissing on a 14-yard touchdown run, and the second of the game for Evan Nadrowski. Boy, what a big turn of events here. A 3-and-out that turned into an almost blocked punt with Nadrowski, the guy who was going to block it when he had to maneuver around and escape. And with 9:38 to go in the third quarter, they will kick the extra point. And Cerule's kick is up. It is good.
Extra point attempt by Aiden Cerule.
Wyomissing 28.
Your score, Wyomissing 28, Middletown
and
9.
Middletown 9. And a huge start in the third quarter after Wyo was held scoreless in the second quarter. Here, terrific field position to start the first quarter helped. Here's what can happen for this deep and strong Wyomissing team. I mean, the offensive line, we know about these guys. So if it's not happening early, and it did happen early for Wyo here, but if it isn't, you just wait, because you're expending energy as a defensive lineman trying to push through on those big bodies on the O-line for Wyo. And sooner or later, the Wyo offensive linemen are going to pave a big hole. And even if they're not, you try to bring down Evan Nadrowski. Middletown is having a tough as the dickens time doing it. He got through there on the special teams to almost block the punt. And here it was back-to-back 14-yard carries. They got the ball on the 28. And both times he's bouncing off of first contact or dragging guys with him. Here it looked like he was going to be brought down at the 7. There's going to be a kickoff from the Middletown 45, so they must have taken a penalty. And I don't know if it was an unsportsmanlike when the touchdown was scored and they're assessing it on the kickoff, but it's unusual. Now, Cerule could go for an extra or an onside kick here, because if you don't get it, you still have Middletown in not really good field position. So a kickoff from the Middletown 45, and the officials are kind of conferencing it over. I mean, Derek Wall is deep to return. I mean, Cerule could just kick this through the end zone if he wanted to. But I don't know if he's going to want to. He's already tried one kind of pooch, lob, drop a dime, onside kick earlier. A little bit of his specialty. I mean, Middletown knows that's a possibility, too. And you don't have as much space to work with, too. There are 11 guys compacted in on their side of the 35 for Middletown. Cerule is just going to drill it as hard as he can all the way through the end zone. Well, and maybe you could drop it on the 5. Easy for me to say. Drop it in there shy of the goal line and everybody run for it and see if he can get there first, sort of a why not. But they didn't go for that, and it's like it's risky because if Mac gets it on a bounce or something, look out, because he had a 97-yard kickoff return for Middletown's only touchdown of the game. All right, 28-9, a 19-point lead for Wyomissing. And Middletown's feeling the pressure now. Their offense has nothing. They had 52 yards in the first half. They had negative yards, I think, on their last drive. I think it was 4th and 12. And they pass it through the hands of Tajai Brody. And that doesn't help either. They've had a couple of passes hit their receivers in the hands where on a different day, they're catching it. Bob Wolfram told his players, let's not compare scores here. Middletown had an off game when they barely hung on against Boiling Springs 20-16, the team that Wyomissing has in common with them. And Wyo, it wasn't that easy. Even though it was 47-7, it wasn't as easy a 47-7 game as you might think. Okay, dodging away, Powell. Two guys could have brought him down. He slips through, and the third guy catches up to him. Isaiah Fernandez with the tackle.
Number 17, Tony Powell with the carry.
Powell had nowhere to go with it. The pocket collapsed quickly, and it was impressive that he wasn't tackled for a sack or for a loss. He tucked it in and tried to do something with it, and Fernandez got there around to the other side. And Wyo is doing this, I'm pretty sure, without Stephen Alexi, who took an injury late in the first half. I do not see number 72 out there. 3rd and 6 from their own 24. Wyomissing 28, the Blue Raiders of Middletown 9. And Wyo up by 3 scores. Dropping back, Powell dumps it off, caught, but not for any gain. In fact, maybe in the line of scrimmage, if that, and kind of a risky pass that I thought had a chance to be intercepted. It's complete to Brody, but it will be a punt for Middletown. The last time they tried to punt, Nadrowski busted his way through. Somebody else did too. And the punter, T.J. Daniels, had to scramble away and try to punt it on the move, and he did. And he got a few yards back out of it instead of getting tackled at his own 10 or something. But Wyo took it at the 28, and 2 plays later they were in for their 4th touchdown of the game. 28-9. 4th down from their own 24 to punt it, we assume. Well, he's not very deep on this punt. And just did get it off. Very close. Amory Thompson catches it at the 40 and dodged away, but tackled by the ankles at the 41. Good coverage on the play by Audric Bryant. Thompson tried to put a little juke move and see what he could accomplish, and Bryant was able to hang on to his calves and bring him down. So Zach Zeckman and Wyomissing taking over from their own 40-yard line. This team with 15 starters returning from last year's squad, which was very good. You know, you'll lose a couple of guys, Hurlman and Tranquilo and you know, a couple others. Ian Bruner. Yeah, they don't have everyone back, but they had 15 starters returning from a team that was very good. They're better this year. That's the consensus, generally speaking, anyway. Handoff, Nadrowski bounces off a couple of guys. Now he's shoving away Derek Wall down the left sideline and bumped out of bounds at the 25. He just strong-armed a man, and actually I think that was Tymir Jackson that he shoved away, number 5. And he just straight-armed him, held out the right hand, and pushed him aside. And Nadrowski said, "Don't mind if I do."
6-yard line, where it'll be first down, Wyomissing.
What do we have on that? A 35-yard run for Evan Nadrowski.
Timeout, Middletown.
Middletown calls timeout because they're huffing and they're puffing and they're in trouble. And Wyo's pushing them around on the line, and they cannot bring down Evan Nadrowski to save their lives. Nadrowski last year in the district final win against Middletown, that was a close game, 24-21. It ended when Tommy Grabowski had an interception on 4th down with just over a minute to go when Middletown had the ball and was driving, looking for a tying or winning score. So it was that close last year. Last year, Nadrowski had the big game of, 113 yards. And Allman had a couple of touchdown passes as the quarterback because Zach Zeckman was injured from the beginning of the season. This is what I think Bob Wolfram thinks and what many others think is the best Wyomissing team that they've had since the 2012 state championship team that won it all with Alex Anzalone and knocking off Aliquippa in Hershey Park. This team has a very good chance to get to Hershey Park, and again, as we are seeing now, especially here. I mean, before we didn't know because of the strength of schedule. Okay, this team looks really good. The 2nd and 3rd string guys, they look really good too. That we know they're deep. They had that game against Schuylkill Valley to end the regular season 2 weeks ago. 14 different guys touched the ball because you're talking about a blowout in a 49-0 game. They're trying to keep the scores down against a competition that couldn't hang on to them. Here's Jordan Allman, and they are able to hang on to him over on the left sideline, and no gain for Allman. Derek Wall hustled over. Man, Wall is doing pretty much everything for these guys, making some big tackles, and had a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in the first quarter for their only touchdown of the game.
Where it'll be 2nd down.
So they were tested last week by a better Boiling Springs team, and they certainly passed that test with flying colors, 47-7, and everybody was saying, is Wyo good or not? We can't tell because they're playing, not as good competition. Now they're all of a sudden it's okay. They're good. And here against Middletown, yeah, they're taking it to them. Nadrowski bounces off a couple of guys. Hey, there's a good tackle over there. They've just got to bear down and know you're going to get punished when you run into the big man. Audric Bryan with a big tackle there. Nadrowski a gain of 5. It is 3rd and 5 from the Middletown 21. So this is potential Aiden Cerulli field goal range. It doesn't have to be 4-down territory. It would be a 38-yarder for Cerulli for a team right now up by 19. So that's, go up to 22 over 3 touchdowns. That's possible that they might do that. But first they'll try for a first down. Zekman's going to roll left. He's in trouble, and he throws it away out of bounds. He was almost sacked. He was out of the pocket. No intentional grounding. Number 55 linebacker Jeremy Wells on Zach Zekman. He's an injured player on the play as well. So just to get to this district final again, you know that these are the 2 big kids on the block. Wyo was hoping that they would get to host, and they were the 1 seed, for much of the way, but then the strength of schedule cost them. But every single week, from 1 week to the next, you don't know if you're even going to play. A COVID case on your team or a COVID case on your opponent's side. And, of course, they did lose a game when Twin Valley wouldn't play. They didn't even have any COVID anymore. They just didn't have enough practice time. Who has that out over there? Is that 40? Okay. No.
Penalties, pass interference, Middletown.
Getting out of the old binocs here. 10, Amory Thompson. Yeah, they don't have a 40, so that would be a problem. I appreciate the effort, though. So 10, Amory Thompson was down and was a little hurt. He looked like he was feeling okay. If Wyo plays Twin Valley, or if another opponent agrees to play them. Hey, Middletown was off that week as well, but they had shorter notice. And Bob Wolfram said, I don't play Middletown. They found out Friday, you're going to ask them to come and play us Saturday. That could have cost them their playoff chances. We're potentially going to meet them again in the district final again anyway. He doesn't blame Middletown for not wanting to play on that short notice there, but there were some other teams that could have, but they were afraid of Wyomissing. I mean, that's really what it was. And they lost that game, and nobody would play them. And you know what? That week and that lack of a game, that's why Wyo didn't get to host this week, because if they had played one more game, they would have won on the power rankings. The one game that they didn't play, that cost them. And I mean, we didn't even know that Middletown really had a chance to catch them in the power rankings. They caught them by like 1/1000th of a point when Steel High won on Saturday. Both teams were already done, but then you go and look and go, uh-oh, this is a little closer. And there's still another game to be played that would boost Middletown's strength of schedule, even though they were done playing. So anyway, you get to that point, and consequently on the road, hey, Wyo beat them back at the A field last year. They feel they owe a little payback to these guys back at this place, where things have not gone so well for Wyomissing previously. Timeout is called. The number 2 team in the state in AAA. And they do have a very good chance to get back to Hershey Park. But, again, it's from 1 week to the next. Are you even going to play the game? So many other playoff games have been canceled. And, many of you know the story of Harrisburg, who scrambled to get in their 4th game so they could be playoff eligible after their season started so late. And then they get out to State College and play a game on Monday with a lot of the junior varsity guys right before the deadline. Okay, now they're the 1 seed at 6A. And then not so fast, because they had a COVID case that day, and they had to forfeit. And they wouldn't even bump up Wilson from the 5 seed to take the 4 seed. They called it a forfeit and allowed York to automatically win. And that's the kind of chaos you've had from 1 week to the next. And we almost had it with these guys right here, because Boiling Springs, the team that Wyomissing played last week, they had a COVID case on Thursday officially from a kid that was had the symptoms on Tuesday. Well, it's supposed to be a 48-hour gap. So Wyomissing was in the clear and was past that, because they had just played Boiling Springs Saturday. The kid got symptoms Tuesday, so they're safe and okay to play. But from 1 week to the next, you don't even know if you're going to get to play the game. And so to be here and to get to play this game You breathe a sigh of relief. Here you are, the two teams that wanted to play each other again, they are doing so. After the timeout, it's 2nd and 11 from the 12. Just a little thought rant vent there. All right, Zekman fires it for the end zone. It is caught. Allman, is he out of bounds? Incomplete. He was out of bounds there. Oh, man, for Allman. And it was very close. There's a flag out there, too, isn't there? Okay. There's a flag sitting right there in the dead center of the 20-yard line.
Allman is incomplete.
Allman made a terrific catch. He was shy of the goal line, but he was out of bounds when he caught it from Zekman. What's the penalty here? 3rd and 11 from the 12 would be coming up. Holding is the call against Wyomissing.
Holding, Wyomissing.
So they will mark him back, but it should go back to 2nd down, I believe. Wasn't it 2nd down before, or is it still? It was. So, yeah, they're adjusting it on the chain there too, on the yard marker. It's going to be 2nd and forever. Second.
Where it'll be 2nd and long.
2nd and well, it's on the 30. They can get to the 1 for a first down. So it's pretty much 2nd and 29 from the 30. Almost 2nd and goal from the 30. Zekman under center. Handoff. I thought it was to Nadrowski, but that was some deception there from Zekman, and Allman actually took it. Nadrowski was plowing forward, then I look up and he doesn't have the ball. Zekman's very good at handling that. He runs the offense so well. And I mean, he doesn't have to pass the ball all the time out of this wing tee. Jordan Allman did a very good job running it when they needed to get him in there in a pinch. They pull back Nadrowski from the offensive line and say, okay, why don't you try it as a fullback now? And there he is as a fullback wearing 44 because he used to be a lineman. That's why. 3rd and 32 from the 33. And Zekman airs it out for the end zone just over his head. Incomplete, intended out there for Grabowski. A flag on the play, and it's downfield. So but it's not where the pass had gone. So it's where somebody was running a route, and maybe he was held, or maybe he held somebody else. I mean, the ball was on the 30. The flag is thrown to the 20 at the 20, and the ball was over Grabowski's head way down at the 10 or the 5. Pretty decent coverage there. Well, Middletown is being marched backwards here. It's holding against Middletown. So one holding penalty against Wyo marches them 15 or 20 yards backwards, and a holding against Middletown brings it back the other way. And what do we have? It's on the 22, and it's 3rd and 21. So it's pretty much 3rd and goal. They can get a first down if they get tackled at the 1-yard line. Otherwise, it's 3rd and goal from the 22, with Wyomissing leading 28-9. 4.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Flag on the play. I think the play clock expired. I think it's a delay of game. No, it's offsides on Middletown. Well, get another 5 yards. 3rd and 16 from the 17. We had one penalty, I believe, in the entire first half. And we've had 4 penalties on almost 4 consecutive plays here on this drive. All right, and break, and here we go. From the left hash, Nadrowski is the lone back. And there's a handoff from Zekman. Big hole! And Grabowski then tripped up at about the 12. Looked like T.J. Daniels was there.
Evan Nadrowski with the carry.
Nadrowski's having a big game. Middletown knew that he's the big deal and is the real deal from last year. Here comes a field goal try for Aiden Cerulli. It's pretty much in the center of the field. Maybe that's by design. Nadrowski tried to make sure, don't go to the hash because we got a field goal coming up. And Matt Kramer will hold from the 19. So this is a 29-yarder. Should be easy for Cerulli, we assume. Good snap. Kick is up. It is good. And a beauty. And with plenty of room to spare on a 29-yard field goal for Aiden Cerulli. And it is 31-9, Wyomissing. And now it's a 3-touchdown lead. 22 points up for the Wyomissing Spartans. And that field goal comes with 3:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter. don't know what the final score is going to be, but people are going to see this score of 31-9 and go, wow, Wyo is blowing them out of the water. And it really isn't quite the case, but in a way it is. But Middletown is absolutely, I think, giving Wyomissing their toughest challenge of the season.
Back to receive from Middletown, number 8.
Coach Wolfram, who has been so accommodating, and yeah, I think everyone in Wyo knows he's such a good guy. I'd never met him before this season, of course, but you know, he was saying, yeah, it was a little surprising last week against Boiling Springs when they took that, 27-0 lead by halftime, scored on their first 4 possessions. It was almost too easy, but it was a couple of shoot themselves in the foot plays on the Boiling Springs side. Hey, Wyo deserves credit there, the Nadrowski interception and then the sacks at the end of the half when they had driven to the red zone. Okay, here comes a big return again, and Derek Wall slips and falls. Otherwise, as he was cutting to his left, there could have been a little bit more. Now we've got some pushing and shoving going on away from where Derek Wall slipped. A couple of guys were kind of wrestling around, and I think an unsportsmanlike will be called against Middletown, but you could, do this offsetting thing and call it against both guys and just sort of even it out. It looks like they're intending to march it off against Middletown. I don't know if that was Audric Bryant, 21 in there. So I think they will march it off against Middletown. And, I mean, it's just been a struggle for the Blue Raiders with 52 yards in the first half. They've had negative yardage so far in the second half. They cannot get anywhere against this suffocating Wyomissing defense that's given up 16 points all year. Their first string has given up 9 points all year, 1 touchdown. The special teams has now given up a touchdown, but the defense, And so now they're marching off the unsportsmanlike there after the extracurriculars. I mean, there's frustration there on this Middletown team. Hey, I was talking about Boiling Springs and that COVID case that they had. It's because teams, after they lose in districts, they're allowed to pick up extra games on their schedule to continue their season. This season is so crazy, but you're allowed to keep on playing and get up to 10 games. So you do the playoffs earlier to try to get them finished by Thanksgiving. You get eliminated, you have those emotions, and then you schedule a different game. I mean, it's weird, and everybody's doing the best they can with it, including in situations like this where the stands are not packed to the gills like they should be, like they would be in a normal district final scenario in Middletown, like they always are, except for this year. Okay, here's a handoff to, I believe, Audric Bryant, way around to the right sideline. I thought he was out of bounds, and he spins his way ahead and bumped out of the Wyomissing sideline. And yeah, Bryant, I think, had a gain of almost 10 there. He might get a first down out of that. I see Nazir Arango entering the game, as well as Tymir Jackson. Well, Wyo has certainly put the clamps on that young man. Tymir Jackson averaging about 150 yards per game. He hasn't had anything close to that because the big muscle men on the front line for Wyo, they've been busting their way through. All right, on that last run by Bryan, it was a gain of 8. 2nd and 2 from their 23 with 3:24 to go in the third quarter, and Wyomissing up by 22. Handoff, Powell gives it off, and there's a nice pickup there on 2nd and short. Jackson with a gain of maybe 10 or so, and one of the better runs that we've seen out of him in a little while.
He stopped at the 32-yard line.
It's 31-9 with 3:10 left in the third quarter, and time is running out for Middletown to find their offense in any kind of way at all. And this is an important drive for them that started deep in their own territory after they took the unsportsmanlike there. Okay, Powell, handoff again. Jackson kind of leaning forward and nudging the ball across the 40. A gain of 2 or 3 for Tymir Jackson on the play. And timeout on the field. And I don't think there's not an injury. Or there is, I beg your pardon, yeah. There's a player coming off for Middletown. It's like an offensive, a guard, Jeremy Wells, an offensive lineman. Oh, there's a penalty. Really? I didn't see any flag there. So Jackson I didn't see any signal either. So Jackson gained 2, but instead they mark it back. And it's 1st and 15 from their own 32. Tony Powell, they were hoping that his emergence after missing the whole season with that preseason injury. Handoff, Jackson spins around, tripped up. And while he was trying to circle his way past, he is felled. I thought he was going to turn that into something, and getting him just enough by Jack Miller. The linebacker got enough of him to force him down. He wasn't even hanging on to him at all when Jackson went down. 2nd and 12 from their own 30 for Middletown. 2:10 to go, third quarter, and they need 3 touchdowns. They're down by 22. And here's Powell throwing, and it's caught by Brody, and then he shoves away one Wyomissing, and Zeckman catches up to him on the left sideline. Brody turned that into another extra 5 or 10 yards or so by shoving aside Darren Bruner. Brings up 3rd and 5 for the Blue Raiders of Middletown. And the winner of this game to head up the road to Wilkes-Barre, District 2, where it's Lakeland against Lake Lehman. And they get to host in District 2 next week, but Wyomissing on November 20th or 21st, whatever the heck it is, would get to host in 2 weeks if they make it that far to the state semifinals. In 2 weeks, Wyo would host. Oh, Powell's in trouble. He escapes the pressure, takes it himself, and out of bounds. He was almost sacked. A couple of guys were in trouble or were tangled up behind the line, and Darren Bruner almost, after he had been shoved away on the last carry, he almost got in there on the sack of Tony Powell. Powell, some good escapability there. He's a good athlete. They'll try some quarterback keepers, and last year, again, 1,400 yards passing as well. He's the real deal. Under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, and what do we have? 4th and 2. Big play here, and they're going for it, down by 3 touchdowns. Handoff and stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Now pushing his way forward. He might have gotten there to the 42. It is very close, and will depend on the spot on that run for Tymere Jackson. I think he got there. And yes, they signal move the chains. Second effort, because it looked at first like he was going to be brought down at the line of scrimmage at the 40. And then Jackson still on his feet, legs churning forward, and he just falls across the 42 for a first down on 4th and 2. So it keeps the drive going for a Middletown team looking for its first offensive touchdown of the game. They only have a special teams touchdown. End around Audric Bryant speeds over to the far side of the field, the wide side, and gets nothing at all. The secondary converged on him quickly. That was Bruner that got over there on the tackle. It's hard to turn the corner on these guys. You've got the muscle up front for a while. You've got the speed behind them to cut off all those end-around tries that, all kinds of teams will attempt, because up the middle, there ain't a whole lot going on a lot of times. But the secondary is wise to it. Powell might have to put the ball up in the air at some point here. So, yeah, he's going to do that here. 2nd and 10, and he passes out of the right flat to Tajai Brody. Complete, and he gets nowhere.
Tajai Brody.
So, yeah, they just dumped off a little bubble screen, really. Complete pass for a gain of 0
He's brought down at the
to Tajai Brody.
3rd and 10.
Brody's a good one, and he's a D1 recruit. Defensive end and a tight end wide out, and sometimes he'll play, he'll even line up in the backfield. All right, 3 receivers wide left. They're spreading it out here for the last play of the third quarter. If they get it off, 7 seconds, the clock ticking, and Powell's looking over at the sideline. And what is head coach Brett Myers going to do? They'll just let the time expire. They're not going to try to hurry in a play. They'll just turn this into kind of a timeout. I mean, the difference is just 1 play in 8 seconds, whatever. So third quarter, Middletown, they're moving the ball. They're not moving it a lot, but they're moving it more than they had been earlier. And the Blue Raiders, their backs are to the wall. Fourth quarter coming up. Wyomissing 31, Middletown 9 in the District 3 Class AAA final on SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
All right, we reverse sides here, and this is critical for Middletown. They're moving the ball at least a little bit. Couple of first downs here. Pushing forward for maybe a gain of 2, maybe with forward progress. Wyo player slow to get up. Looks like he's okay. Is the big man, Rashard Williams. No Stephen Alexi. He was hurt at the end of the first half, way over on the far sideline on a tangle up there and some contact. He was hobbling off the field, and Stephen Alexi has not returned. What do we have? 4th and 8 from their 44. They've converted on a 4th down. They've missed on a couple others. Powell back. He's in trouble, and he's sacked. Bruner got him. Oh, there's Alexi. Yeah, he's in. He's back. And there, I see him because he's the guy that got him for the sack. Combined with Darren Bruner. A sack on 4th down. Turnover on downs, and Wyo will take over. So much pride here with this Middletown football program here. And it's very similar to Wyomissing in this sort of, neighborhood setup. It's a bigger stadium, some slightly more stands on the visitor side especially. But otherwise, it's reminiscent. And, they know that this is slipping away here now. Do the players and the fans. Down by 22 with 11-12 to go. And it looks good for Wyo to repeat. Here's Nadrowski off right tackle. Gain of 3 for Nitro, Evan Nadrowski. The state javelin champion ain't half bad at football. I mean, he's the strongest guy and the best athlete on the team. And he does a little bit of everything. Hustles up there for a hurried punt, was almost a block, had a fumble recovery today, had a big interception last week. And when he's carrying the ball on offense, good luck bringing him down. 2nd and 7 from the 37. In the words of Bob Wolfram, it's hard to bring down 240 pounds. Oh, a fumble. Zachman bumped into one of his own teammates, lost the ball, loose on the field. I think Wyomissing got there. I think Zachman got his own drop ball. He was dropping back, and I looked at him, and I'm like, did he lose the ball? And he turned it forward. Yeah, I don't have the ball anymore. Maybe he was trying to hand it off. And he was completing a fake handoff, or a handoff there, and he's trying to deceive and look like he's going to pass. Now that I think about it, I wonder if that was kind of a mix-up. Because it looked like he bumped his own teammate. I think he was trying to give it to somebody, and his teammate didn't hang on. All right, well, there's Allman to hang on. He fumbled the ball earlier and lost it. Here, Zachman fumbled, but he recovered. Allman only has a gain of a couple. He had a touchdown. What was it, a 19-yard run back in the first quarter. Aiden Mack, Jordan Allman, and Evan Nadrowski all scored in the first quarter. Nadrowski, his second touchdown comes in the third quarter, and Aiden Cerulli had a field goal. So 4 touchdowns and a field goal and a 31-9 lead for Wyomissing on the road in a game that we certainly wish that they could have hosted. Felt like they deserved to host, but strength of schedule was lousy. They're going to punt, it looks like, on 4th and 6 from the 37. And Cerulli will try to nail this inside the 20. Well, it bounces at about the 10, and they're going to down it at the 3 or the 2. Oh, yeah. Nicely done, Aiden Cerulli from the 38. That is a 36-yarder, I think, and I think it's down at the 2. Maybe it's a little further ahead than that. I might have contacted somebody, and it did. At the 5. Not a whole lot better for Middletown, but they're not pinned in quite as much. They've got 95 yards to go to try to get their first offensive touchdown of the game. And they can't have a long, sustained drive.
It is a first down Raiders.
The clock is their enemy, too. There's only 8:54 to go in the fourth quarter. And they're down by 22 points. And they have not scored an offensive touchdown today. Their only touchdown was a long kickoff return by number 8, Derek Wall. Special teams touchdown, special teams safety. Offense, 0 points. Dropping back to throw, Powell has a receiver. Oh, it should have been intercepted, and Allman couldn't hang on. It was thrown behind Derek Wall with the crossing route deep downfield. He's going across the field. Powell throws it behind him. It's right to Jordan Allman, who knows a thing or two about catching the ball. He's had some receptions this year. Right to him, and he muffed it. He couldn't hang on for the interception, and then he went, gosh darn it, and smacked his hands on his helmet a little bit. 2nd and 10 from the 5 with 8:49 to go until a district title, it would appear, for Wyomissing, as long as they can hang on to this 22-point lead. Powell, shotgun, 3 guys wide left, and he hands it off to the lone back with him spinning around. I'm going to assume that's Jackson. It is Tymier Jackson, who gains a couple. Clock is running. 8:35 to go, fourth quarter.
He stopped at the 8-yard line.
Looking like Wyo has a trip to Wilkes-Barre coming up next week in another appearance in the state playoffs. Wyomissing 5-4 all-time in state playoff games. It didn't go well last year, and they felt they were probably favored against Tamaqua, but Tamaqua came from behind. Oh, Powell under some pressure. Bruner there, throws it out and almost intercepted again. There was Grabowski, who had that big pick at the end of the district final last year to clinch it against Middletown. Powell was trying to find Zettelmoyer. Grabowski almost intercepted it. It was a little tricky, and Middletown will punt it away. And another big defensive stop here for Wyomissing. Middletown had 52 yards of offense in the first half. They do not have 50 yards of offense in the second half. They have less than 100 yards here in this game. They have gotten nowhere on offense. And this is a good offense from Middletown. But Wyo's defense is just suffocating. Amory Thompson is at the 45 to return. Here is the punt from TJ Daniels. That will bounce at the 35 and go out of bounds, it looks like, at the 42. And Wyomissing in Middletown territory to begin this drive. Bob Wolfram has all the respect in the world for Middletown head coach Brett Myers, who I just saw down there clapping his hands and encouraging his guys. Can't give up now, can't get down. The only chance we got is if we get some inspiration here. Wyomissing, or Coach Wolfram says this Middletown team is so well coached. You know, that's maybe the best compliment one coach could ever pay to another team. They're well coached. Their players know what they're doing. They go to the right places. They play well. They play hard. But Wyo is just overpowering them here. A little more slowly but surely than we've seen in some of the other games. In our first game of the year that has not gone to mercy rule for a while. Here's Nitro again. Evan Nadrowski plows his way forward for 4. Middletown's finding a way to bring him down a little bit, but small consolation here. Now, Nadrowski really doesn't have any big runs. He had a couple of 14-yard runs earlier in the third quarter on a 2-play drive that was a touchdown. He had a reception for his other touchdown on a 15-yard catch. Rushing, I'm going to guess that in, bits and pieces, he's grinded his way up close to 100. Well, here's Nadrowski. Oh, he could have turned that outside. Easy for me to say from up here. I think he could have turned that outside and would have had nothing but green real estate in front of him. Instead, he tried to cut it back in. A gain of maybe 3. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 for Wyomissing from the Middletown 32. Now, this is probably outside of Cerulli's field goal range, so let's consider this 4-down territory here for Wyomissing and a 31-9 lead. It was 21-7 in the first quarter, back and forth, wild action Well, not exactly quite as much fireworks since then. It would hard to be. Yeah, it would be pretty difficult to have that many fireworks. Zekman, handoff. Nadrowski bouncing off a couple guys down the right sideline and trying to dive for the pylon, out of bounds at about the 3. Maybe bumped out of bounds over there by Audric Bryant. There is a 30-yard run for Evan Nadrowski. That's his longest run of the game. First and goal for Wyomissing at the Middletown 3. Looking to pretty much officially clinch it and finish it off. If we're not really there already, which we pretty much are. It's a 3-score game with 6.5 minutes to go. Wyomissing 31, Middletown 9. And everyone packed in. Nadrowski over the goal line, touchdown! On the handoff from Zach Zekman. And he dives his way through and scores with 6:23 to go in the fourth quarter. It's the 5th touchdown of the game. And it's 37-9. I'm pretty sure that was Nadrowski. All these bodies were in there on top of each other. I'm not 100% that Nadrowski actually is the one that carried it, but it looked like him. I think it was him. Extra point, Cerulli, good. That's our first points
number 12, Aiden Cerulli is good.
of the fourth quarter.
Your score, Wyomissing 38, Middletown 9.
Nadrowski's 3rd touchdown of the game. And with 6:23 to go, it is 38-9. Wyomissing is up by 29 points. And, you know, that's pretty much all she wrote in terms of the result here. 38-9. It was 21-7 in the first quarter, and you see that early hot start with the 2 touchdowns with the Middletown fumble in between, recovered by Nadrowski, by the way.
Number 12, Aiden Cerulli.
And you had the feeling that the game is not going to go like this the entire way. And it didn't. But you wondered if Middletown hangs in there, will these 2 touchdowns make the difference? I've got a confession to make here in just a moment. And you might not believe me. You probably won't. I told my wife earlier today, because she's asking me about, you know, she's learning about these teams. She's not here. She watches sometimes. My prediction today was 38-14. So this is pretty darn close. Can I pick them or what? That's not, I mean, that really wasn't that obscure. I should have told you guys. Oh, here comes Derek Wall. Big hole. Is he going to take it to the house again? Caught up to by Cerulli, the kicker. Tackles Derek Wall. He's been their whole show offensively because Tymir Jackson hasn't been able to make it happen. He has the only touchdown of the game that came on a kickoff return, and here it's another kickoff return that he almost took all the way back the other way again. Cerulli, the kicker, got him at the 48. Amory Thompson was a little dinged up on that play and was helped up and comes off the field. I don't think he was too bad. And now sprinting off the field is Rashard Williams. They're, you know, changing personnel there. I remember a play last week. They had to get Williams to the sideline because they had 12 guys on the field, and the big guy was running over there, and then they called timeout. All right, juking and jiving here is Tymir Jackson. Now some shoving there at the side, away from the play. One guy is down, and coming in is Wyo's Isaiah Fernandez to see if he's okay. There's some, you know, intensity out there, but also some good sportsmanship from Bob Wolfram's boys. Anyway, I love watching Rashard Williams run because he's 6'5" and 315 pounds, and he's sprinting as hard as he can. And you know what? For a guy that gigantic, he actually can kind of motor pretty decently. But, man, he had a terrific game. That huge tackle that he had, what was it, in the second quarter against Boiling Springs? I mean, you heard the smack when he ran into that poor guy. One of the Garveys, I think. Oh, here's a pass complete. Down to the 29-yard line, caught by Tim Wagner.
Number 14, Tim Wagner.
So Tony Powell hit him right there in the hands, and I mean, he tucked underneath the coverage, and Wyo maybe lost
Raiders.
track of him a little bit. That's one of the biggest plays we've seen from the Middletown offense. It's a little, too little too late most likely because it's a 29-point game with 5:15 left, but Middletown is playing with pride here, and I heard some of the parents and fans here, shouting to the kids, keep your head up, and that's what it's about too. I mean, they played hard, and they gave Wyo one heck of a battle today. They really did.
25-yard line.
And it's not going to be reflected in the final score. It won't be reflected in the final score, but Middletown gave Wyomissing, a really good battle that they absolutely anticipated, and they did anticipate that the score was going to be closer than this. Okay, here's Tony Powell out of the shotgun. Second down. It is caught again by Wagner. A little shy of the first down marker, but pretty close on the gain of 7 maybe on that pass. 3rd and 1. We're down to 4:20 left, and Middletown is moving the ball the best they have all day long. And this is still the first string defense primarily. I see Andrew Eisenhower in there, a couple other guys. So, yeah, we're rotating in a few other players, I guess. But I see Bruner, and I think I see Alexi over there, too. So you got some of the first stringers, too. In motion is Tajai Brody, and here's Powell, handoff to Jackson. And I think he's going to cut off left tackle and turn that into a first down. So Middletown is threatening to punch it in for their first offensive touchdown of the game after they had good field position on Derek Wall's kickoff return to the 50. Well, now they're down to the 16. They have 1st and 10 from the Wyomissing 16-yard line with 3:35 to go in the game. And to go until a district title, the 9th all-time for Wyomissing. All right, ducking around there is Tymer Jackson.
Tymer Jackson again with the carry.
He'll bring it across the 15. That's a gain of 2. He's brought down to the 14-yard line is Jackson. Back into the game is Tim Wagner, who has 2 receptions on this drive for Middletown. And also wide left is Nazir Arango. He's in the left slot. And the backfield alongside Powell is Jackson to his left, sidecar left essentially. Wide right, TJ Daniels, and 21, Audric Bryant. Rolling left, Powell throws, and a diving effort. I don't think he caught that. Yeah, he kind of trapped that attempt on the bounce. So incomplete, stops the clock with 2:47 to go. Well, what a triumph this will be for Middletown. They lost, or I should say for Wyomissing. They lost the first 3 playoff matchups against Middletown. And now they've won the last 2. And so for guys that were playing in the freshman and sophomore games, 3, that are seniors now, Bruner, Zeckman, some others. Maybe Nadrowski was playing as a freshman some. It wouldn't surprise me. Here is Powell rolling left, running away from Grabowski, dodges back in across the goal line. He is in for a touchdown. Tony Powell, his first game of the year, has a 14-yard touchdown run with 2:38 to go. Will make it 38-15. So Powell with 2:38 left. I was predicting 38-14. I thought Wyo would win, but then Bob Wolfram's talking to me before the game, and I'm chatting with him, and he kind of convinced me otherwise. This is a good team. This is going to be a war. And then I thought, yeah, maybe my prediction was a little overly optimistic. It probably was.
Touchdown, Middletown.
Well, as it turns out, and I mean, he's got to take his opponent seriously. As it turns out, I was accidentally more correct than I thought. All right, they'll try for the extra point here, and here comes Tyson Leach, number 86. It is 38-15. Powell, what was that, a 16-yard run, I believe. And the snap, the kick, it is up, and it looks good to me. It is.
Extra point is up by number 86.
38-16.
Your score, Wyomissing,
with
38.
2:38 to go in the game. As best I can with my kind of cold fingers here with temperatures in the 50s and sitting outside. I'm getting on Twitter on my phone to see if I can find a Lakeland versus Lake Lehman score. I saw 3-0 in the first quarter. All right, third quarter, Lakeland 14, Lake Lehman 3. And so it looks like Lakeland High School near Wilkes-Barre, assuming they hold on, they lead 14-3. Lakeland will host next week. That's next up for Wyomissing. And after that, Wyo would get to be at home. If they win on the road up in Wilkes-Barre next week, in 2 weeks, Wyo would be back at home. So not November 20th, because that's a Friday. November 21st would be the Saturday afternoon that Wyo would host if they can win next week. And that's a state semifinal game. So after that, it's Thanksgiving weekend. And hello, Hershey Park. And perhaps a showdown with Central Valley out of Pittsburgh. That's the favorite on the western side of the state. They're rated number 1 in the state. Wyomissing is number 2. Will they make it through? 38-16 with 2:38 to go. And here's the kickoff. And deep to return. Let's see, who is this here? And taking a knee now on the return. Was that Matt Kramer? It was. So Kramer catches the ball at the 10, and then he brings it up to the 20 or so and takes a knee, which I can't recall ever seeing on a kickoff like that before. I've never seen a player take a knee on a kickoff unless they're in the end zone. I've never seen that. And Bob Wolfram will pick up will run a couple of plays, and if he's got the clock running, he might take some more knees to finish off this win, 38-16 with 2:35 to go. Let's see, Wyomissing in District 3 playoffs will go to 35-18. And they won 3 of them last year and 2 of them this year. 5-game winning streak in District 3 playoffs and back-to-back wins over Middletown in the district finals. Back at Wyomissing's place last year, here at War Memorial Field in Middletown this year. 24-21 was the score in a much tighter game last year. John Huber is in and has that pickup of a couple. John Huber, number 7. 2nd and 8, and the clock is rolling down to 2 minutes. Nadrowski, 3 touchdowns. Jordan Allman, and a fumble recovery. And almost a blocked punt on a hurried punt that set up one of his own touchdowns. Another monster game for fullback Evan Nadrowski against Middletown. He had a big one last year. This one's probably bigger. Another carry. I think that's Huber. It is. And Matt Kramer is in at quarterback now. I wanted to make sure. And yeah, it is Matt Kramer who is in at quarterback for basically what is this last drive of the game. This is impressive. This is the best team that Wyomissing has played this year. I mean, hands down. These guys, this team, I think, is better than Boiling Springs, and they proved it by beating them when they had an off day. But Wyo raced down to the 21-7 lead in the first quarter. Middletown, made them work, and it was tough, but Wyo basically just sort of pushed through from there after the early 14-0 lead. That kickoff return that made it a 14-7 makes you think, okay, now we've got a game. Middletown needed that. They got it. But Middletown's offense, until this last drive in the fourth quarter, Middletown's offense got nowhere at all. That was the drive that began at their own 5, wasn't it? They converted on a couple of 4th downs and marched it all the way downfield. And they began with about 8.5 minutes left, and they scored with 2.5 left. It ate up a lot of clock, but it was kind of a moot point by then. We're under a minute to go. Victory formation for Wyomissing. And Kramer takes a knee.
Yes, sir, Kramer!
And they're cheering for their Middletown players, who they are always so proud of here in Blue Raider country. But it's the Wyomissing Spartans who are celebrating a Section 3 title on the road in Middletown. And they will all gather, and I mean this district title means the world to these kids who didn't even know from 1 week to the next will they even play a game. Congratulations to the Wyomissing Spartans. Let's keep it for the trophy presentation, guys. I mean, this is, what it's all about. It's on to states for Wyo, but right now they can celebrate districts, and these Middletown kids are coming out with their good sportsmanship to stand on the opposite hash. And they're kind of pointing some fingers there at the Wyo players and offering congratulations. And the Wyo players are all applauding. And they're not applauding themselves, they're applauding their opponents. There's a lot of terrific sportsmanship shown by these teams in a 38-16 win in the 2020 very unusual feel for the District 3 AAA final with, not nearly the number of fans that we would normally expect to have here, which is why we have so many viewers on our broadcast tonight, of course. We wish you could have been here for us here too.
By District 3 representatives Kathy Reski and Rod Frisco.
There you see all the guys, and we'll get in close for the trophy presentation. Next week on to Lakeland, it would appear.
Presented to Wymissing's head coach Bob Wolfram.
The captains go out and join them. I see Allman and Bruner,
Jack
Feitner.
Number 11, Darren Bruner. 15, Jordan Allman.
Zach Zeckman in there too. And Zeckman holds it way up high. And they will all gather around. And what an exciting moment for these kids, and especially for Zach Zeckman, who had the knee injury in the first half of the first game last year, going into such a promising and exciting season. And it was an exciting season. And he watched the whole thing from the sidelines. And this was the moment that he had been waiting for, that he didn't even know he was going to get. He missed all of last year with the injury. Then this year the pandemic happens. Will he even get to play? He was waiting. Wait till next year. Wait till next year. I'll get my chance. Then he doesn't know if he's going to get his chance. And it culminates here, at least for now. We can say that word culminates. They've got more to go. But here in a district title for Zach Zeckman with all that uncertainty. And so for all of the kids here, it's special. But most of these kids won the district title last year. Zeckman was a part of the team that didn't get to play. This is what he had waited for. And all of these kids, like Darren Bruner and others, they had waited for their chance to come in here to Middletown, a little payback, because Middletown won when Bruner and Zeckman were freshmen and sophomores. But then, so they got one of them back last year. They felt like, well, you know what, we need another. And they're all posing around the trophy and around the captains. And the photographers are down there just snapping away. How many pictures are we going to get of these guys? Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's digital. You got it. But there's smiles and congrats. Middletown has walked off, and their parents were proud of them. It's a weird season, a shortened season with one game that was canceled when they couldn't find an opponent, going on the road when they felt they were the best team in districts, and they have proven it here today. But the strength of schedule on the power rankings cost them, so they had to go on the road, not playing in empty stadiums, but certainly emptier. You don't get the 4,000 cramming in at the A field and everyone bringing the lawn chairs and sitting way over in the grass corners and all around. It wasn't like a normal season in Middletown either. And these stands would have been packed. And it's, in a weird way, it feels normal, the same. I mean, everyone's kind of gotten used to it. It's a shame that we couldn't get this packed house and that energy in a way, but you know what? You gather that energy in the games themselves. And there was intense. The first quarter was intense. And the second quarter, you're kind of buckled down, and it was a struggle. Here are the captains posing at midfield. Zach Zeckman, Darren Bruner, Jordan Allman, and Jack Feitner. The four captains. Okay, we're back. Did we lose connection, or are we good? We're good. Okay. So we lost our audio because the plug was pulled. They're packing up here, and they got us back on very quickly. Anyway, congrats, guys. Congrats to Coach Wolfram and his 9th district title. Sign off, I guess. So, right, let's wrap it up. I mean, we saw the trophy presentation. Now they're across there, and the parents have all, kind of moved up to the front row, which is a little elevated, and leaning over and cheering for their boys. And I see some of the players going into the stands, actually, posing for photos. They're kind of climbing the wall, and from the other side of the fence, they're kind of hanging onto the fence. I saw Steve and Alexi over there. What I was thinking before, right when we got pulled, and the captain's posing, these photos, it's what they take for the rest of their lives. They've had a couple of NFL players that have come out of Wyomissing, and these kids will go on to play college ball at some smaller schools for many of them. But this is what they're going to remember for the rest of their lives, and what they've been dreaming of and working to achieve since they were kids and playing, as 10-year-olds together on the same team. And now, these seniors and these captains, it's all about winning a district final, which they have. They've won a district championship, which, in Wyomissing, that's what you aim for. You run the same systems and that wing tee when you're 10 years old in preparation for making it to the big club. It's such a big deal in, a fairly small town community in, west of Reading and Wyomissing. I think it's very cool and it's very special. And it's meaningful for these 17 and 18-year-old kids who will take these memories for their lives, and you kind of see some of that in the book, A Football Family. This brotherhood and this football family continues here for these kids. It's photos all around, and photos that they will look at and have fond memories of, in this video too, that they'll look at and have fond memories of, 30 years from now when they're my age. Honestly, this is such a big deal, and they know it's a big deal now. 20, 30 years from now, they'll know even more so, because it'll be in perspective when they won this district final. But it's not over yet. The PIAA state tournament is on the way. Now we're down to the district type champions, and District 11 isn't even playing in the states this year. They opted out so that they could have a longer district tournament instead of this version, which was the shortened 4-team playoffs instead of 8. So it's on to District 2 instead of District 11. And up to District 2, Lake Lehman and Lakeland. Last we saw, Lakeland was up 14-3 after 3 quarters. I want to check here before we sign off. And then after that, if Wyomissing wins, and I think that they will be favored on the road in District 2 next week. I mean, they are the cream of the crop at AAA. It is, and if they win, then they'll be back at home the following week against whoever it is, District 4 or something, Montoursville or somebody, and they would host. It would not be at a neutral site. In 2 weeks, Saturday, November 21st. Mark it down. Plan to see you there. Hope for good weather. Hope that Wyo wins one more game and gets there. Lakeland leads 14-3 with 4 minutes left, so it looks very likely that Lakeland is going to be the opponent. It's on to Wilkes-Barre next week for Wyomissing. The Section 3 AAA, the District 3 champions, winning against Middletown in the district final for the second year in a row. Final score from Middletown, it's Wyomissing 38, the Middletown Blue Raiders 16. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a good one. We knew it would be. My name, Bob Rotruck, and thanks for enjoying this game with us on SFBN.